Hartlepool United have suffered somewhat with injuries. That is a well-worn path. But Pools, 6 points from the playoffs, 5 from the bottom 4. And these two sides meeting for the first time since 2016. It is the 114th meeting, for those keeping count, between these two sides, but the first ever time that these sides meet in the National League. Craig Hignett alongside us, the former Pools manager. He was the man in charge the last time these two sides met, as Pools did the double over York City in League Two. And Craig, I suppose the fact that this is the first time these two sides have met in the National League just shows you where things have fallen away for both of the teams over the last few years. It's a real sad sight to see that this is a National League fixture now.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, it's incredible, really. You know, thinking back then, it's only a short space of time in the grand scheme of things of a season, and York have dropped two leagues. You know, they went into the National League North, where John Askey done a great job, got them out of that league and got them back into the National League, where they found it really difficult to try and get up amongst the playoff spots because of what's been going on at the club. And Pools, you could say similar. They've had all kinds going on in the background. They got taken over. They have been promoted since, but couldn't sustain it. And it's a real shame to see these two, because they are two big teams playing in the National League.
So Hartlepool United with 4 changes from their 2-2 draw against Ebbsfleet. Out goes captain David Ferguson. He is suspended. Chris Ray drops to the bench. Terrell Adjamang has returned to Middlesbrough from his short loan spell. And Mitch Hancox, who is in attendance, can't play against his parent club. So in comes Jake Hasty, Brodie Patterson. A first start for Callum Cook and Kieran Wallace since September, after they were both out injured. So Pools line up with Joe Dixon in goal, a back three of Zach Johnson, Manny Onarise and Joe Mattock, who has a white strapping around his head after getting a cut across his face in that draw against Ebbsfleet last Saturday. So the wing-backs of Jake Hasty and Brodie Patterson, a midfield of Kieran Wallace and captain Nicky Featherstone on his 550th career appearance. Tom Crawford and Callum Cook supplying Manny Dizaroué up front. Pools in possession and kicking from right to left in this first half, dressed in their blue and white vertical stripes with the blue shorts and the red socks. York City in red shirts, navy shorts and white socks. Crossing to the penalty area from Hasty. Cleared only as far as Crawford. Comes back out to Wallace, who hits one, gets right behind it as well, but it's easily gathered by George Sykes-Kenworthy in the opposition goal. A bright start for Pools, Craig.
It's a really bright start. They've only been playing a minute, but already they're on the front foot. They've been first to all the second balls, all the bouncing balls. They're getting the ball forward early. They're not messing about, not taking a touch. It's just, if the ball bounces, they get it forward. Manny's done really well holding it up once or twice and bringing players in. You can see how narrow the pitch is, Rob.
Yeah.
So Hartlepool are going to be asking their wing-backs to make the width, no matter whether they're attacking or whether they're defending, because there's so many bodies in the middle of that pitch. It's going to be really hard to play through it.
And Hartlepool United have a free kick early on. Let me just quickly take you through the York City side. One change from their win over Fylde last time out in the National League. They beat Chester 2-1 in the FA Cup in midweek. That change sees Scott Burgess drop to the bench and Linnell John Lewis come in up front. So Sykes-Kenworthy in goal, back four of Ryan Fallowfield, Will Smith, Callum Howe and Tyler Cordner. A midfield of Kai Kennedy, Oliver Green on loan from Hull City, a former Pooley and Paddy McLaughlin who played under Craig Hignett alongside me, Alex Woodyard, and then a front two of John Lewis and Deepo Akinyemi, their top goal scorer this season with 8 goals to his name, having arrived from Ayr United in Scotland in the summer. It is Kennedy in possession, deep inside the York half of play, and a clearance that skews up into the slate grey afternoon sky. The floodlights are on here at the LNER Community Stadium. Pools with a throw-in midway inside the York City half. Neil Ardley coming out to the edge of his technical area with a very smart long trench coat on. He's got the very fashionable trainers on his feet as well. He's very dapper there as he watches on. A ball out of play for a Pools throw-in, and you can see Neil Ardley just trying to tinker with his system.
He's trying to work out how Pools are playing and what they're doing. because if you look at the pitch, it looks very congested, doesn't it, over this side. You've got Jake Hasty in loads of room if they can switch it really quickly, and up against Paddy McLaughlin.
As Desiree does well to turn away from two red shirts. You're right, it is. It's almost as busy as the trains on the way here for many poolies. Absolutely packed, that midfield. Hasty wide on the right-hand side. Good delivery into the box. The goalkeeper has dropped it. It might fall for Patterson, but the referee says there was an infringement there from Desiree on Sykes Kenworthy. It is a free kick to the home side.
That wasn't a foul for me, Rob.
Yeah, I would agree.
I mean, Jake Hasty already twice has got the ball, cut back onto his left foot, put two crosses in. They haven't found the target yet, but it's so easy for him to get a cross in, find Manny Desiree where he was pulling off at the back post. The keeper's come out there. Manny doesn't really do anything. He holds his ground and the keeper comes over the top of him. Not a foul for me.
Neil,
but Pools look a lot more solid already, just watching it after 4 minutes.
As Akinyemi can't get on the end of a loose ball, so Brodie Patterson clears it. Body strewn on the floor in midfield, but we play on. It's with McLaughlin on the left-hand side, and now picked up by Kai Kennedy. Gets it back, continues his run as it falls to John Lewis wearing the captain's armband. He goes down, and Pools have a throw in just up from their own corner flag. John Askey down in his technical area, hands thrust in his pockets as he just returns to the bench and asks for a little word of advice from Anthony Sweeney in the Pools dugout. I mentioned it's Nicky Featherstone's 550th career appearance this afternoon. He is the only remaining player who played that afternoon, the last time these two sides met back in 2016. A 2-1 win, goals from Nathan Thomas and Michael Woods as Callum Cook tries to get on the end of a hopeful ball forward up towards the halfway line, but it's intercepted. Pools fighting for it in midfield, and it drops out for a throw into the home side on the halfway line.
Well, already we've seen how compact Pools look in that midfield area, whereas last week we were talking about how easy it was to play through them and how much space teams had to get turned and run. There's none of that there, because if they get past the first two in Crawford and Callum Cook, they've got the second two in Wallace and Featherstone to get through as well, so it looks a lot more steady, doesn't it, in that midfield area particularly.
It certainly does. John Lewis picking up the ball, trying to drift past 1 and 2, looks to feed a ball through into the penalty area, but it ends up at the feet of Joel Dixon, the Pools keeper, who launches it up. It's picked out of the air by Desiree, controls it on his thigh, trying to circle away from the two red shirts, loses out, but the ball mopped up at the back by Joe Mattock with the Terry Butcher style headdress on this afternoon.
I tell you already, I've been impressed with Kieran Wallace.
Yeah, just keeping the ball ticking over, doesn't he?
He gets a foot in, covers the area really well.
A ball over the top for Jake Hasty, who's got the run on his man. Desiree there inside the penalty area. Hasty might go by himself! Jake Hasty makes it 2-2! Into the team, onto the score sheet. Hasty makes an impact. And it's first blood to John Askey against his former employers. Hartlepool United take the lead. York City 0, Hartlepool United 1, and what a tidy finish from Jake Hasty.
That was a brilliant finish, Rob. And if there's a blueprint to how you open York up, that's it there. Get Jake Hasty against Paddy McLaughlin, because you're seeing there, Hasty's got too much for him. He's just too quick. Paddy couldn't stay with him at all. It's not a place I'd have put Paddy at left back, certainly, but you can see there how easy it was for Jake Hasty to just run past him. He didn't have to do a trick. He just took the ball on, ran past him, cut in on his left foot, and a really lovely low finish to the keeper's right-hand side. Keeper was getting nowhere near it, into that far corner. Brilliant start for Pools.
And you're right in what you say. It was like a tortoise versus a hare, wasn't it, on that right-hand side? It was like Paddy McLaughlin was in slow motion and Hasty just accelerated past him with purpose and drive, but then to have the calmness of mind to finish low. He had the option of Manny Desiree to his left, but decided to go by himself. And now it's the Hartlepool United fans you can hear on our effects mic. They occupy the entire stand behind Joel Dixon, and a quarter of the stand over on the far side. 8 minutes in, Hartlepool United leading at the LNER Community Stadium by a goal to nil, thanks to Jake Hasty.
And if you're John Askey now, you're just saying to everyone, listen, let's play over here, but as soon as you can switch it and get Hasty 1v1 over that side, do it.
Well, it's stunned the home fans, and it's ignited the voices of the travelling supporters, the thud of the drums away in the background. But Pools are always at danger when they've scored, and Akinyemi twisting and turning edge of the area. The shot takes a deflection and is cradled in the arms of Joe Dixon in the Pools goal away to our right-hand side. This is a test for them now, Craig, because lately when Pools have scored, they've conceded very quickly after.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, looking at them, you can see how solid they are right up the middle of the pitch. And I think anything, you know, there shouldn't be any runners, because there was loads of times where runners had ran off a midfield and he didn't track them. It's going to be really difficult for any runner to run off this midfield now, because they've got to run off two sets of midfielders.
Yeah. The shouts of wakey, wakey linesmen from the York City fans behind us. We are right behind enemy lines this afternoon, which always makes for an interesting afternoon. But thankfully I've got Craig Hignett alongside me, so...
Yeah, we're all right.
You're the buffer between me and them, mate.
They'll go for me first.
Yeah, well, there is that. You're more recognisable than I am, thankfully. Crawford out to the right-hand side for the Sunderland loanee
like
and
that,
Zach Johnson.
Rob, there was a real chance just to give it Hasty and say, go on, get on with it.
And Featherstone and Wallace are playing very well together at the base of that midfield as Joe Mattock looks for a ball forward to the edge of the area, but it's picked up by Oliver Green on loan from Hull City. Now Kai Kennedy is brought down by Hasty, and York City have a free kick that they wanted to take quickly, but the official Paul Marsden pulls it back and says, hey, hold your horses.
See, I don't mind that. It was a good foul, I thought, there from Hasty. He was dragged into the middle of the pitch. Paddy McLaughlin was on an overlap. He'd done well to just to foul him.
So Jake Hasty, the goal for him, just his third for Hartlepool United since arriving from Rangers last summer. Often the figure of much joke and also much criticism, but his last two appearances, he's done exactly what he needs to do, which is let the performances speak for themselves, Craig. Yeah.
That's all you can do, Rob.
Yeah.
You just got to get your head down when you get a chance. Try and do your best, and that's what he's done. Last two appearances, certainly.
And there's a really quality finish from him as well. As York City, their chance to attack, but a loose ball that just skips up off the turf away from Oliver Green, and now Nicky Featherstone has it at the base of the midfield. Callum Cook brings into play Hasty on that right-hand side.
Don't check back.
Yeah, and that's what he does.
Don't check back, just keep going.
Hasty gets it back from Crawford. Featherstone calling for it in the centre circle. It's with Wallace. Square to Featherstone.
Pools have certainly won the tactical battle, because York chasing shadows at the minute.
We'll be over to Darlington very shortly. They're playing Scunthorpe in the second round of the FA Trophy. But here come Hartlepool United again with Brodie Patterson. Receives it from Desiree. Checks back to Mattock. Delivers. Left-footed, curling away from goal. Headed out only as far as Featherstone, who just nudges it on with his forehead to Zach Johnson, who does well to control inside the centre circle. Heavy touch from Crawford. Goes back to Zach Johnson, and Pools build again from the back, but doing well to keep hold of possession under some pressure from York City, the Minster men. As Mattock comes forward, finds Desiree, a little pass round the corner to Brodie Patterson, who stays onside. Now Callum Cook, just didn't check his six really there, did he? And got caught in possession.
Yeah, he didn't know what was around him. Centre half came in late, got a good tackle in.
Ball drops through to Zach Johnson, now Featherstone and Wallace combined. Cook gets caught in the challenge, but the ball rolls kindly to Featherstone once more. Through ball to Callum Cook, heavy first touch. Can't get there, second time of asking, it's all the way back with George Sykes-Kenworthy in the York goal. Let's go quickly over to Ray Simpson, then in the National League in the FA Trophy second round, Scunthorpe against Darlington. Ray.
15 minutes gone. It's Scunthorpe 1, Darlington 0, and Darlington's weaknesses at the back exposed again, just like they were at Chorley midweek when they lost 8-0. Conceded a goal on 8 minutes, the ball outside the box with Ross Barrows, and he flicked the ball into the area past two players for Connor Smith to latch onto, and he fired right-footed across Tommy Taylor into the bottom left-hand corner. It's Scunthorpe 1, Darlington 0.
Thank you for that, Ray Simpson. Update you as well, Spennymoor against Michelova at the Brewery Field. That one also in the second round of the FA Trophy. Spennymoor Town leading by 1-0. And here in the National League this afternoon, York City 0, Hartlepool United 1, thanks to a Jake Hasty solo effort, running through past Paddy McLaughlin, the former Poolie, and finishing low to the right of the York City goalkeeper to give John Askey first blood against his former team. Nicky Featherstone does well to read the ball and win possession. Desiree was coming back from an offside position, so couldn't gather the ball. It's out for a throw, and you can just see Nicky Featherstone's frustration there.
He hates it, you know. He's saying, why are you asking for the ball if you're offside?
Yeah.
I don't think he was asking for the ball, if I'm honest. I think Nicky's more angry with himself.
And he's still shaking his head as we speak. You talk about leaders and you talk about experience, and Nicky Featherstone is that all in one. But he wasn't always like that, was he, Nicky Featherstone? No. Sometimes he was, I think under you, he was accused of not having a voice. He's certainly grown into that voice, hasn't he?
Nicky's always had a voice, whether he shows it or not. You know, he's a lot more confident now. I think when you get to a certain age, you know your game and you know what others should be doing. And you're not scared to say it.
Oliver Green trying to attack the Pools defence, laid into Kai Kennedy, lays it off the left-hand side of the penalty area. High effort that goes wide from Paddy McLaughlin. Up over Joel Dixon's crossbar and into the travelling Poolies behind the goal. That was a chance for the home side, but nothing more, as it remains York City 0, Hartlepool United 1.
Do you know what? It was a bit of a let-off. They got an overload, didn't they, on that left-hand side. Paddy McLaughlin in the box. You expect better from him there. I think he was trying to cross it. I don't think he was trying to shoot.
Yeah, it was sort of a mixture of both, wasn't it?
I think he changed his mind and went sailing over the bar.
Scores elsewhere. Ebbsfleet 0, Oxford City 1 in the National League as Tom Crawford receives it, quickly surrounded by red shirts. Callum Cook has drifted into space, edge of the area onto his right foot, gives it to Crawford, who can shoot from there. Oh, and he does shoot from there, and he scores from there for good measure. Tom Crawford adds yet another to his tally for the season, and he doubles the lead for Pools to give them some vital breathing space. 16 minutes in, Pools leading at York by 2-0. The assist from Callum Cook, the goal from Tom Crawford. 2-0 to Pools.
Well, what a great start it's been as well. And they haven't been able to cope with the front three of Desiree, Cook, and then Crawford joining in. Cook and Crawford joining in from midfield. They're playing as the more advanced central midfield players. And it's been good. You know, they've been picking up all the second balls. They've been playing forward. And just there, Crawford just pulls off, edge of the box, gets a ball found to him from Cook, takes it out of his foot, and it was a really crisp finish. Again, low to the keeper's right. Keeper had no chance. Really good finish from Crawford. No more than Pools have deserved, because they've been absolutely on fire in their first 16, 17 minutes.
Craig, how different is this?
Totally.
I mean,
it's amazing.
It's like watching an entirely different side. Yeah. It is so stark than what we've seen in the last few months.
But you can see, so, I mean, they look so much more compact. You can see every time a ball goes to a York player, there's 2 or 3 Pools players around him. There's no space for them to play forward. The only time I think they'll get caught out is when it changes hands quickly, they play forward quickly, or they'll switch it quickly, and then Pools could be in a little bit of trouble because people are trying to get back. But as yet, York haven't been able to do that because they haven't had time to get their heads up and look. They've been so compact, Pools.
And now the home crowd starting to turn a little bit. A few shouts of discontent from in and around us, but Oliver Green trying to change that for the Minster men. It comes to Woodyard, out to the right, the left-hand side, I beg your pardon, to Kai Kennedy. Oh, sliding challenge from Onarise there to just intercept the cheers you can hear from the travelling Poolies, who are leaping up and down and singing loud and proud. A top shot from distance that comes in from Tyler Cordner, dragged well wide of Joel Dixon's right-hand post.
Well, Pools will be delighted with that. There again is an example of how tight and how miserly they've been, because that's a centre half there getting the ball in the middle of the pitch 40 yards out and trying a shot because he's run out of ideas. I think York are all over the place at the minute. And
you can see now still Neil Ardley, edge of his technical area, in conversation with his coaches, still trying to figure out exactly how to get his team a foothold in this game.
They don't know what they're doing. They haven't got a clue how they're playing.
Long hopeful ball over the top that Manny Dizarue is going to chase from Joe Matic, but the centre-halves are able to sweep up with Ollie Green.
If you're Neil Ardley now and you're seeing your team play like this, that the one thing you'd say to them is just go match them up.
Yeah.
Just go and match them up. And then it's just one against one then. Who wins the battle? Because at the moment, they're in between everything. They don't know when to close down. When they do close down, they're getting the balls played behind them. Pools are picking up all the second balls. You can see how tight it is in there, can't you?
Yeah. Oh, it's Dizarue picks up the ball from Crawford, circles away from his man and finds Cook, who drifts into space. Now, Zach Johnson.
Since Hasty scored that goal, he hasn't had the ball.
No, they haven't found him, but he found him there. Look. Turns his man. He's turned McLaughlin inside out once more. He's running into the penalty area, tries to go past one man and a second, but instead runs into trouble, and York City are able to play it clear. But in danger of overplaying it at the back and giving it away to Hasty, who is onside. I thought he was off then, but he's not.
No, it was a York player, wasn't it, who played the ball?
Yeah, you're right. I beg your pardon. Featherstone. Crawford out to Wallace. Now Cook. 25 yards out onto his right foot. Thought he was going to shape to shoot there.
Well, they need more players going forward, Hartlepool. They've just stopped for a minute. York, you can see, don't want to come out, don't want to leave the shape.
But Pool's happy to have it with Wallace, and they've got players on the pitch now, Craig, who can look after that ball.
Yeah, they have.
Crawford, wide right-hand side, midway inside the opposition half. Featherstone now to Kieran Wallace. Those two in particular have been excellent so far. Joel Matic on the touchline on this near side. Into the feet of Dizarue. Back to goal. He's got Patterson to one side. Space is opened up for Joel Matic. Looking to run at two red shirts to the byline. His cross takes a deflection and Pools win a corner, the first of the game. And that was a really purposeful run there by Joe Matic. Not bad for a centre-back who looks like Terry Butcher.
But it was really good play, wasn't it? Down Pools' left-hand side. A couple of passes, and then it opened up for Matic, and he just went through and into the space.
BBC Radio T Sport on 95 FM, DAB, digital radio, Freeview 722.
Nicky Featherstone having a bit with the crowd.
Nicky Featherstone giving it some to some of the York crowd. Cross to the back post, headed in. Surely that crossed the line. It looked like it crossed the line, but the linesman hasn't flagged. Hartlepool United can't believe it. It looked like a Tom Crawford header at the back post. The goalkeeper incites Kenworthy, palming it away, but from here, and we are at some distance, it looked like it crossed the line, Craig.
I think it hit the post, actually, Rob. I think the keeper's sort of got something on it and then it's hit the post. I mean, they look all over the place, York, don't they?
They do.
Pools have got them on the rack. They don't know when to close down, how to close down. They're all over the place. Pools have... They're almost passing them to death.
BBC Radio T Sport in the company of Craig Hignett, former Pools manager. Myself, Rob Law, here with you. Matty Nixon will take you through all the half-time scores at the break as Eastleigh have gone 1-0 up against Altrincham. Pools on the attack with Featherstone, crossing the halfway line. Accelerating as he does so, picks out Patterson wide left, good cross deep into the penalty area, headed away. Crawford looking to pick up the loose ball, and Kai Kennedy appeals to the referee and gets a free kick for a tug by Crawford in a Pools shirt, and York City have a man down inside their own penalty area and he's going to need some treatment. So while that happens, let me take you through the rest of the scores. Only a few to tell you about. I mentioned Eastleigh against Altrincham. Eastleigh 1, Altrincham 0. Ebbsfleet 0, Oxford City 2 now. And the only other goals that have gone in this afternoon are here. at the LNER Community Stadium. York City 0, Hartlepool United 2. The goals coming after 6 minutes through Jake Hasty, accelerating down the right-hand side, going past Paddy McLaughlin with ease, then in at the angle inside the box and slotting home past Sykes Kenworthy to give John Askey's side the early advantage. And that advantage was doubled just over 10 minutes later when Callum Cook, drifting into space, picked out a pass to Crawford inside the D, who had just pulled away from his marker, and was able to curl one, drill one low past Sykes Kenworthy to his right-hand side to make it York City 0, Hartlepool United 2. And during this break in play, just watching Callum Cook there, he's just getting a bit of some of that deep heat spray on his right calf. You can see him just massaging it now. He's a player who hasn't started a game since September, so with that is going to come some aches and pains, but Pools can't afford to overstretch their players who are coming back from injury.
Well, it looks like York are going to make a substitution, are they?
Yeah, well,
put his top back on now.
Yeah, Ollie Green, I think it is. Will Smith, I beg your pardon, over on the far side, is just testing out. It looks like that right knee that he's struggling with. The physio is over there with him, waiting for a signal to the bench. But at the minute, it looks like Will Smith will be coming back on, but certainly won't be getting jiggy with it anytime soon.
That's awful. I can tell you're a dad.
I am now, yeah.
That's a proper dad joke.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
So one good thing about being a dad is you can tell rubbish jokes like that and get away with it. As Nicky Featherstone is judged to have fouled his man. And York look to take the free kick quickly, and it's been allowed by the referee. As Akinyemi gives the ball away to Crawford. And Pools have it on their own byline, but the ball, well, it's actually been given as a free kick to Pools over on the far side.
I mean, standing there, if you're John Askey, you're absolutely delighted, aren't you, with what you're seeing here?
Yeah.
Because it's night and day from what we watched last week.
It's so different. It can't be understated how different this is.
They look like a proper side, a really well-drilled, competent, compact. They're on the front foot. They've got options going forward, but they look really solid as well when York do win the ball and looking to break back. Everyone's working really hard.
And now Akinyemi is breaking away from his marker. Hartlepool United have to be careful here. Akinyemi out to the right-hand side, goes past Patterson, but Patterson gets back at him. He's right up towards the corner flag, a little back heel towards Ollie Green. Now Fallowfield onto his left foot, tries to find Green once more. Akinyemi, and then the ball spread out to the left-hand side for Paddy McLaughlin, the former Hartlepool United man. Now Cordner drifting across the midfield, but his pass is intercepted. And Kieran Wallace booms the ball clear after a foul on Joe Mattock, who has ditched the headband. And there's going to be a change here for York City, and it's Scott Burgess who is going to come on. Meanwhile, Will Smith, the Harrogate loanee, is coming off with an injury. So an early change by Neil Ardley with his team 2-0 down.
I'd like to know how bad that is.
You're not buying it?
No. Why would you carry on and then sit down there when you know you're coming off? That's it. We're going to get battered here today, and I don't fancy this.
You think that's what it is? Well, off goes Will Smith, 25 years of age, had a loan spell at Darlow back in 2018 to 2019. 6 foot, and goes off with a niggling injury straight down the tunnel as well.
Listen, I might be doing him a disservice, but it's a bit suspect to me.
Well, Scott Burgess comes on, and he is a man who knows John Askey very well because he played under him at Macclesfield. As two York City players tangle and the ball drops out for a throw-in, and Manny Dizaruwe just turns to the referee there and says, any chance I've just been tag-teamed by two players there and you've given nothing? We'll be over to Ray Simpson very shortly when this ball goes out of play, as Crawford does well to pick the pocket of Ollie Green. Pulls in possession inside their own half. They're leading 2-0 here at York City this afternoon in the National League North, if you're just joining us on BBC Radio T Sport. Goals from Jake Hastie and Tom Crawford making the difference so far for John Askey's men. Ryan Fallowfield in the right back position, all the way back to his goalkeeper as Pools just shift across. And York City lacking ideas at present. And Sykes Kenworthy searches long, but he only finds the head of Zach Johnson. Brodie Patterson picks out a forward ball and goes back to his goalkeeper in Joel Dixon, away to our right. Clears it up into the slate grey sky, which is darkening as the minutes tick by. The floodlights are on here this afternoon, beaming down onto the pitch, so drawing shadows from the players. As Wallace, oh, nice pass from Dizarouwe, opens it up for Cook. He's got Crawford and Hastie away to his right-hand side. He picks out Hastie, same position as the first goal. Onto his left, onto his right, puts it into the 6-yard area, headed up, but not out. Back to Hastie, right-hand side of the penalty area. Now Featherstone. Wallace is there and he finds him. Wallace through to Cook. Circles back, tries to find Dizarouwe, whose header goes wide. It is still York 0, Pools 2. A chance for Dizarouwe, but well wide of the mark in the end. Let's go over to Ray Simpson in the second round of the FA Trophy. Scunthorpe against Darlington at Glanford Park.
31 minutes gone. It's now Scunthorpe 2, Darlington 0. Scunthorpe scoring from the result of a Darlington attack, which ended when Callum Griffiths would have crossed into the near post, which was held by the keeper Fitzsimmons. He quickly played it up the left wing where Griffiths had left the gap because of his forward run, and the ball was laid off by Smith, but Jacob Butterfield to control about 25 yards out and hit a right foot shot that flew past Tommy Taylor. A lot to do here, and reminiscences of Tuesday night at Chorley. It's now Scunthorpe 2, Darlington 0.
Well, that doesn't sound good, does it? Reminiscent of Tuesday night against Chorley when the Quakers lost 8-0. Jacob Butterfield with the goal then for Scunthorpe, the former Middlesbrough man. I didn't realise he was at Scunthorpe now.
Yeah, I knew that.
All right.
I can't believe you didn't know that.
Sure, yes. Yeah. Thank you.
That's only because I was up at Scunthorpe.
Oh, is that why? Yeah. Now the truth is coming out.
But I didn't know it, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
So I knew it at this moment in time.
It doesn't matter how you know it, it's just that you did. And that's why you are the expert summariser, Craig.
That is why.
Oh, we're in a good mood here on BBC Radio T Sport this afternoon because Hartlepool United are leading at York by 2-0.
Not just leading, they're absolutely running the game.
Dominating.
Absolutely. It's been, in all the games I've seen this season, it's been the best I've seen them play.
Yeah.
And that's when they were flying at the start of the season as well.
Pools no win in 4 coming into this game this afternoon. York City were unbeaten in 4, and you wouldn't guess that. As Brodie Patterson finds Cook, goes by himself and just pulls it wide of the mark, but it took a deflection, and Hartlepool United have a corner, their second of the game.
Well,
that was a chance. Yeah.
You know, they had Desiree's header just before we left to go and speak to Ray, and then Callum Cook there running at the edge of the box. Nobody really pressurising him. He should be hitting the target, making the keeper make a save. I know it got a slight deflection, but
he could have even played in Dizarouwe as well.
He could have. I mean, it was a great chance. They opened York up again.
Corner comes in from Featherstone, an outswinger to the back post, headed by Mattock, back across. Well, it scrambles inside the 6-yard area. The goalkeeper comes out and doesn't get there. A header towards the goal once more, but cleared desperately by York City. It's out to this near side. Crawford still danger, and the chance goes behind for another corner to Pools, and York City desperation defending.
They're all over the place, Rob. I mean, Manny Desiree's just missed his header there at the back post, and he doesn't do that often enough. I mean, normally when it gets to the back post and Manny's there, it's a goal, but he's missed his header.
Nicky Featherstone to deliver. A massive bodies on the 18-yard line. Now they rush in.
Well.
It was, and it was...
Nobody attacked it.
Absolutely nobody apart from Dipo Akinyemi, the York City striker, back inside his own 6-yard box for that corner. Pulls with the throw-in. Just short of the York City penalty area. Mattock to take it. Goes to his right for Nicky Featherstone, but that pass intercepted by Woodyard and boomed long. Wallace gets underneath it.
I mean, they're faced to everything to win in every battle.
Every aerial duel and every second ball goes the way of Hartlepool United. But it shows you, Craig, doesn't it? And you can speak to this as a manager, the difference it can make by having, you know, two players return to the starting 11 in Callum Cook and Kieran Wallace, two good quality footballers who know how to look after the ball and know how to pick out a pass. And Hartlepool United look like a different team as a result of that, plus the work of the others, of course.
Obviously, I think the system looks like it's working and it suits them. I think part of that's to do with York don't know really how to cope with it or what they're doing with it. But they've moved the ball, they've kept it really well, Hartlepool. They've moved it quickly when they've had to.
And they can now move the game at their own pace, can't they?
Yeah.
They don't have to rush anything. Long ball, hopeful forward, but...
See, if that's angled a little bit more, he doesn't even need to be close to Paddy McLaughlin. He could give him 2 or 3 yards and still get there.
Oh, an interception from Crawford, but it was Hasty who was in there. It was a ball forward from Onorise, but the York goalkeeper, Sykes Kenworthy, coming out right to the edge of his 18-yard line to gather that one under pressure from Hasty. Now, Fallowfield picks it up on the halfway line for the Minster men. Needs an option. Oh, and instead gives it straight away. And it trickles painfully from a York perspective all the way through to Joel Dixon in the Pools goal away to our right. And Dixon could put a deck chair out in his penalty area at present because he's had very little to do.
Well, he hasn't had anything to do. You know, they've had that one bit over the left-hand side where Paddy McLaughlin hit it over the bar, but if you're talking about as a keeper made a save, he hasn't had anything to save. I mean, it's been so comfortable for Pools. So comfortable.
Well, the locals aren't happy with the officiating.
But, you know, you can still see Neil Ardley, Neil Cox, Tony McMahon, who's down there on the staff. They're trying to work out how Pools are playing and what they're going to do about it. But they haven't done anything in 35 minutes.
The confidence is flowing from the men in blue and white this afternoon. But the more pessimistic amongst us will point to the fact that Pools have been here before and haven't been able to see it out. There's still a lot of football to be played. And not home and hosed by a long stretch yet as Callum Cook turns beautifully and then nutmegs his man and gets a shove in the back there from Alex Woodyard. Well, John Askey said after the Ebbsfleet game that Callum Cook played like Zinedine Zidane compared to the rest of them, and that was a turn and a nutmeg that was equal to the great Zizou himself.
Yeah, listen, that was a really good skill, wasn't it, from Callum Cook? Really clever. But I think that was more a slight on the other players.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
It was saying that Callum was like Zidane.
Yes, compared to the rest of them.
York are going to make a substitution here. They're going to put Kuyar on, who he's just disappeared up the tunnel. I think he's gone to the toilet. I don't think he wants to come on. I think he's like, well,
he's hiding.
I'm ill, yeah. And they've got to, and I think, you know, I think it'll be Paddy McLaughlin probably will come off.
Yes, but you're right in what you said earlier, which is that since Pools got in behind through Jake Hasty on that right-hand side for the opening goal, Pools haven't gone back to that game plan, have they?
That's all you'd be looking for. The best teams see a weakness and exploit it until the team does something about it. Like this now, if Crawford gets it, he should be going to Hasty.
Oh, and he is a diagonal ball.
He's tried to go Callum Cook, but it was the wrong ball. He should have went to Crawford there because it makes Paddy McLaughlin don't know what to do. He has to come in narrow then to stop Crawford running forward, and it gives Hasty more space.
John Lewis is down for York City. Got trod on his ankle there. Is limping rather heavily as York City in possession inside their own half. So BBC Radio T Sport on all frequencies this afternoon. No Middlesbrough, of course, due to the international break. So the spotlight well and truly on Hartlepool United's trip to York City here in the National League. John Askey back against his former team almost a year to the day since he left the club. Back here for the very first time, and at the minute is overseeing Pools 2-0 up against the Minster men as York City overhit a switch ball from the left to the right. I haven't seen
anything like that, Rob. So Fallowfield there, the ball, it was a good ball, by the way. It was a really good ball. He didn't want to take it on his chest because the ball was coming a bit fast. So he's tried to control an impossible control with his outstretched right leg. There's no way in the world he's going to do it. I mean, Ronaldinho wouldn't even do that. Do you know what I mean? It's like, wow, he just didn't want to get hurt. And I'm watching players do stuff here that I shouldn't be surprised at, but I am. But that's good for Pools because it's making it easier for them.
And they look comfortable at present, even though York City...
Well, they haven't made a glove on them.
Well, they're almost half trying to press, aren't they? But they don't quite commit to it, and as a result...
See, they tried it there. That wasn't a bad idea from Callum Cook. He just got the pass wrong.
A ball over the top towards Jake Hastie, who applauds the idea from his teammate, but just overhit and ends up at the York City goalkeeper's feet.
You're almost saying, you know, if you're John Askey, things are going really well and you'll keep it the same, but... You know, as it goes on, you're almost saying to Hastie, listen, you just go and stand on Paddy McLaughlin, go and play out there. We'll cover that gap because we've got enough players behind you to be able to cope with if someone goes out wide, because at the moment they're all playing in field and it makes it easy for Pools. You could say to Kieran Wallace, you go and watch him, or Crawford like he is now, you go and watch him, and just say to Hastie, you just stay on McLaughlin wherever he is, because as soon as Pools win the ball, if they feed Hastie, you'll just run past him all day and he'll open it up for everyone.
A few players slipping on the surface, Callum Cook and Tom Crawford, as York City have possession and hit a diagonal ball to Fallowfield, who this time does collect it well. Drills into the 6-yard area. And cleared by Onarise, put behind by Brodie Patterson. A wild defensive block from Onarise. It's a corner to York City, their first of the game, and the first real bit of danger for Pools.
Well, it is 40 minutes gone, and that's the first time York have looked dangerous. It was a really good crossfield ball. They're the types of ball that'll ask Pools questions, because they're trying to overload it on the side the ball is. So as soon as the ball is switched, it's really difficult for them. But Onarise was right in the middle of the 6-yard box, got a really good block.
Corner taken short, headed away by Kieran Wallace, only as far as Woodyard. Down the left-hand side, gets it back. Wearing the number 30 as he floats one into the penalty area to the back post. A free header from corner, but he heads it behind for a Pools goal kick. So danger averted, but that was probably the brightest spell York City have had all game.
Well, it was just a switch ball. Fallowfield took a touch, got it across the 6-yard box, but Onarise got himself in a really good position, sliding, got a good clearance. But you take that. You know, you come here and for 40 minutes they've asked you no questions, you haven't had anything to be bothered about, you've controlled the game perfectly, you're under no pressure whatsoever, you're 2 goals in front. It's like the perfect scenario, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And John Askey again in conversation with Anthony Sweeney in his technical area, Tony McMahon and Neil Ardley chewing the fat in their technical area. Hopeful ball forward from Woodyard that's snuffed out by Onarise. Desirou gets a shove in the back, but he controlled it well on his chest, and now the referee brings it back just as Crawford had been played in by Callum Cook there.
I think he bought that.
Yes, no, I think you're right.
I think there was a slight touch there, but
he definitely got an A-Stein drama.
Well,
didn't
he did, yeah. It was a little bit platoon-like, wasn't it? William Defoe goes down when he's been shot in the back.
Absolutely. Free kick to Pools then, closer to the halfway line, taken short by Featherstone to Desirou, back to goal. Finds Featherstone once more. Desirou calling for it with the orange boots on his feet. Kieran Wallace turns and picks out Onarise back inside his own half. 4 minutes to go till half-time. York City 0, Pools 2 on BBC Radio T Sport. Zach Johnson tries to find Crawford. It might open up for Hastie, who looks to lift the ball over the defender's head, but loses out. Intercepted by Kieran Wallace, but back towards the...
He's been really good, Kieran Wallace.
He has, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Just understated, but
gets
really
himself
tidy.
About really well, spots danger, gets a foot in, keeps the ball really well.
And Callum Cook as well. I know we've spoken about those two in particular, but you can see, and we spoke about it as well before the ball was kicked this afternoon, of just how vital Cook in particular could be, but Wallace also having a really good game alongside him, and Nicky Featherstone as well. I mean,
they've all done well.
Yeah, that entire midfield, Crawford as well with his goal.
There's been no one really who you'd look at and say, I'm a bit disappointed with him today, because they've all been really solid. Moved the ball nice and quickly, 1 and 2 touch, made it really difficult for York to get set. and go and press.
And the wing-backs in Brodie Patterson and Jake Hastie just pinning the defenders of York City back inside their own half because they're pushed really high up.
Well, when
the pitch,
they are pushed high, it means the full-backs, they can't go out anywhere because they've got the wing-backs to look after.
Jake
so
Hastie.
The midfielder will get on it all the time.
Jake Hastie just wrestling with McLaughlin there once more. And Honorise has it at the base of the centre circle. And Poole's happy to have it and just pull York City around the pitch and then try and utilise the gaps with Hastie running at his man once more. The step overs, tries to dip the shoulder and go past McLaughlin, but this time it is McLaughlin who comes out on top in that exchange, and Poole's concede the throw-in. Now Kai Kennedy accelerating up towards the halfway line, but slowed to a walking pace. Fallowfields is over on this near side. Brodie Patterson comes across to meet him. Infield it goes to Green, and
that's really good play by Pools. You can see how organised they are, because whenever the ball's there's 3 Pools players, always an overload for them. There'll be 2 York players and 3 Pools players stopping it, and it's happened everywhere on the pitch because they are so compact and because they are so well organised.
Diagonal ball hit towards Fallowfield, but he is offside. And the ironic cheers coming from the Hartlepool United fans behind Joe Dixon's goals. Meanwhile, in the second round of the FA Trophy, there's been another goal between Spennymoor and Mikulova at the Brewery Field, where it's now 1 apiece in that one. A reminder that Darlington losing 2-0 at Scunthorpe United, also in the second round of the FA Trophy. And as we tick round into the final 60 seconds of this first half, which from a York City perspective is just meandering away from them, for Pools looking so comfortable in possession as Brodie Patterson is caught on his ankle, and Pools will have a free kick about a yard in from the touchline on this near side. And this is very much in an inviting position for someone like Manny Desirue to latch onto a delivery.
The fourth official has indicated a minimum of 5 minutes additional.
You don't want to see that if you're a York fan, do you?
No, you want to go and get your pie, don't you?
Yeah, you want to get in the dressing room and get sorted out.
Free kick for Pools. Featherstone curling it right on top of the goalkeeper, who drops it and then gathers it at the second attempt, but the ball just slipped out of the grasp of Sykes Kenworthy, and I wondered there if it was just going a drop behind him and into the goal, but he managed to gather it.
It looked like it was one of them where he's gone up and he's just got his fingertips on the ball, hasn't he? He's misjudged it, almost dropped it behind him, but it fell kindly to him.
It almost fell right on top of him, didn't it? And you think just as well it did for him, because otherwise that was going to be on one of those Christmas DVDs, if they still do them, about goalkeeping blunders.
Well, you can hear the York fans, aren't they? They're starting to turn. None of their players can do anything right.
Kai Kennedy looking to change that. Space opens up for him. Finds Akinyemi, drifts it onto his left foot. The shot is wild, wide. And there's a bit of concern here for...
Is that a head injury?
Alex Woodyard.
Must be a bit of blood, mustn't it?
Yeah, I wonder if he's got a cut, because the referee was gesturing there to the physios quite urgently, but he's on his feet, Alex Woodyard, and I just wonder if that's took a whack to the head, whether it's blood there or...
There doesn't look to be blood, does there? I don't know whether his head's a bit misshapen, whether he's had a whack on the cheekbone and it's depressed his cheekbone. I've seen that before.
His head's a bit misshapen?
Yeah, because, you know, when you get a whack on your cheek and your cheek can go in.
Yes.
It looks a little bit...
sunken.
Yeah, like he's just been pulled out with forceps.
Maybe he's just been on a very light diet, who knows? Well, there is going to be a change.
He's coming off.
Yeah, and Woodyard goes off. He's replaced by Thierry Latty Fairweather, who's a left back.
Thierry Latty Fairweather, replacing 30 Alex Woodyard.
Well, Lati Fairweather is going into left back, and you can understand why.
Yeah.
Paddy McLaughlin's been moved more into a central position, and that is to just try and stop Jake Hastie getting down that right-hand side, where he's had varied success in this first half. Cook takes the ball well, turns and picks out Crawford, whose head is on a swivel, looking for a pass, and gives it out to Hastie. Momentarily loses track of the ball, but goes back to Zach Johnson, and now on a Risset inside the centre circle. 2 minutes of stoppage time left. Joe Mattock looking for an option, isn't given one, so he has to double back on himself. Now Kieran Wallace.
He's lost his bandage as well, hasn't he, Mattock?
He has, yeah. Can't imagine it's very comfortable playing with that on. All those, I remember Dale Fry for Middlesbrough early in the season having that protective mask on, and you just think, like, that must be so annoying. You have to play with one of those in your days, Craig Hignett?
No, I didn't.
It was like everybody's saying hello to you.
Well, that was Tony, the referee. So you know Tony from... He's a Football League referee, and he's a Pools fan.
He had his Pools scarf on as well.
Yeah. So that's the one, Tony Harrington.
Yeah.
Good lad, Tony.
More so the fact that he's a Hartlepool United fan and a big smile on his face. I don't know if that was because he saw you or because Hartlepool United are leading.
Well, I do that to people, Rob.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I do that to people.
You have that effect on people, Craig Hignett.
Yeah, I can't help it. I wish I could get rid of it, but I can't.
That's the other thing that they say about you behind your back.
Yeah.
Paddy McLaughlin picks up a loose ball for York City out to the right-hand side for Fallowfield, but he's dispossessed well by Brodie Patterson. And now Wallace once again goes long towards Dizaroué, who's been climbed all over the back of, but Pools have a throw-in. Final 30 seconds of the 5 minutes of stoppage time. York City 0, Hartlepool United 2. The goals coming from Jake Hastie after 7 minutes, and Crawford after 16 minutes. Get a full roundup of all the half-time scores with Matty Nixon at the break, plus a recap of the goals, as Pools just comfortably see out the end of this half. And the travelling Pools support, which is excellent this afternoon, 1,500 who've made the journey, packed the trains and the buses, are being well rewarded for their journeys. Dizaroué, a beautiful touch in towards Cook. It might get better here for Pools. Brodie Patterson, a low ball into the penalty area, which was poor in the end, and easily cleared and dealt with by York City.
Where does Manny Dizaroué score all his goals from, Rob?
Inside the box, my friend.
Whereabouts when crosses are coming in? If Ferguson's there, where would he put it?
Back post.
Exactly.
Or inside the 6-yard
Get it in
box.
the back post. That's where Manny is.
Although we say that, and he did score from outside the box, which was a rare occasion against Ebbsfleet.
But when it's wide, and you're going to cross a ball, why would you hit one low?
Yes.
You've got probably one of the best headers of the ball in the box in the league.
There's York City. Look to clear their lines, but it's all hit and hope stuff, isn't it? It's just get it away from goal.
There's no control on it, is there? I mean, look how many players are around here. Even when it gets switched here, Pools will go in. You can see Nicky Featherstone working really hard. There's half-time. Tom Crawford's moaning about it.
And the boos that ring round the LNER Community Stadium tell the story. But the Hartlepool United fans, all 1,500 of them, have been rewarded for their journey so far. And the party started in the away end after just 7 minutes, when a ball was played down the right-hand side for Jake Hastie, who accelerated and brushed past Paddy McLaughlin, the former Pools man, broke in on goal at the angle. Manny Dizaroué was there inside the box, but Hastie didn't need him, full of confidence, and slotted it past Sykes Kenworthy in the opposition goal to give Pools the early advantage. That advantage was doubled just under 10 minutes later, when Callum Cook, who's been excellent this afternoon alongside Kieran Wallace in midfield, found some space, picked out Tom Crawford, who drifted away from his marker, just stepped back from him inside the D, and then drilled a low effort to double the lead and make it 2-0. Pools have absolutely dominated that first half in possession and in terms of chances. A header for Tom Crawford that went close. Manny Dizaroué with an opportunity as well, a header that went wide. Callum Cook with a shot that was just pulled by the right-hand post of Kenworthy. Right-hand post The opportunities add to their tally has been plentiful. Just one lonely attack from York City in that first half, and it came the 40 minutes when Ryan Fallowfield picked out a diagonal ball, drilled it low inside the 6-yard area, and Manny Onarise was there to blast the ball clear of danger. Nicky Featherstone as well almost saw Sykes Kenworthy into a DVD blunder, goalkeeping errors DVD, when a free kick was floated right on top of him. The ball just slipped out of his grasp, but he was able to gather it at the second time of asking and just spare any blushes that may have followed. John Askey back against his former team for the first time, and so far, so good. They lead York City by 2-0. Craig, your final thoughts on that first half?
Well, it's been brilliant. It's been absolutely brilliant from Pools. The best 45 I've seen them play. It's important now that they concentrate, come out second half. Game's not over. Even though they're comfortably in the lead, they've got to go and do that again for another 45 minutes. You talk about confidence, and people have talked about confidence a lot this week. That looked full of confidence, that first half. So to put in a full 90 minutes like that, imagine what that would give them. You know, they've been so good, so dominant. Could have been more than 2. Could have been 4, in my opinion, or should have been 4. So they have to come out second half, do the same again. Concentrate, still work as hard as they are, play like they are, because York have had no answer to it. It's been really poor from York, but that's because of how good Pools have been.
So at the break, Matty, it is Hartlepool United who have the advantage by 2-0. We must write to the Times.
I was going to say, is it just me that sat here going, what's happening? Like, this hasn't happened for Pools in a good couple of months, this kind of level of dominance, I suppose.
They've been right from the word go. I mean, I said it after 1 minute, that you could tell how well they'd started, how compact, how eager they were to get on second, and they've won all the battles, every single battle over the pitch in that first half. Hartlepool have won, and they've been full value for it, Matty. They've been absolutely brilliant in that first half.
Well, Craig, Rob will let you head off and get your half-time bovrils or pies or whatever it is you're going to be munching on. But yes, I mean, what a first half for Hartlepool United. Their lead 2-0 away at York City. The goals coming via Tom Crawford with the second and Jake Hasty with the opener for Pools. So yeah, Pools in dreamland at half-time with a 2-0 lead in front of all those travelling fans at York City. Well, I'll have the scores from up and down the country and indeed in Europe in the Euro qualifiers, as well as the goals from that first half next.
Hi, I'm Rob Burrow, and I've got some exciting news. I'm hosting my own podcast, the first of its kind, presented by someone who speaks using an eye gazing machine. It's a chance for me to showcase my personality and have some fun. The podcast is called 7 because that's the number I wore on my Leeds Rhino shirt.
Rob Burrow's got the pace. He'll dive underneath the post.
I'll interview 7 sporting legends and ask them 7 questions. And I'm delighted to announce we've got some really big sports stars involved, like the incredible footballer and manager Wayne Rooney. It's going to be great, so make sure you subscribe to my podcast series 7, available on the Total Sport podcast on BBC Sounds.
Proud to follow Hartlepool United.
BBC Radio T
Sport.
And Poolies, do not retune your radio. You are not hearing wrong. You are indeed right. Pools lead 2-0 at the break.
Disaroo is there inside the penalty area. Hasty might go by himself! Jake Hasty makes it 2-2 into the team, onto the score sheet. Hasty makes an impact, and it's first blood to John Askey against his former employers. York City 0, Hartlepool United 1, and what a tidy finish from Jake Hasty. Callum Cutler's drifted into space, edge of the area onto his right foot, gives it to Crawford, who can shoot from there. Oh, and he does shoot from there, and he scores from there. Tom Crawford adds yet another to his tally for the season, and he doubles the lead for Pools to give them some vital breathing space. 16 minutes in, Pools leading at York by 2-0.
Yes, Pools 2-0 to the good at the breakdown at York City. Second half commentary from the LNAR Community Stadium to come very shortly. Elsewhere in the National League today, it's Barnet 0, Gateshead 0, Bromley 0, AFC Fylde 0, Dorking Wanderers 1, Boreham Wood 0, Eastleigh 1, Altrincham 0, 10-man Ebbsfleet 0, Oxford City 2, Halifax Town 0, Wealdstone 0, Kidderminster 0, Dagenham and Redbridge 0, Rochdale 1, Aldershot 1, Solihull 0, Maidenhead United 1, Southend 0, Chesterfield 1 and Woking 0, Oldham 0. Into the European Championship qualifiers has been a bitter blow for Wales today. They needed a win to keep their keep the momentum going in their hopes of making the Euros, but they've drawn 1-1 away at Armenia, with Turkey left to play early next week. So Wales drawing 1-1 over there in Armenia. Into League One then, at half-time it's Blackpool 2, Shrewsbury 0 and Stevenage 0, Lincoln City 0. And in League 2, it is in the early kickoff, it finished Notts County 4, Bradford City 2. Half times elsewhere, it is Accrington 0, Wrexham 0, Barrow 0, Crawley 0, Forest Green 2, Grimsby Town 0. Gillingham 1, Salford City 1, Harrogate 0, Swindon 1, Mansfield 1, Newport County 0, Stockport 1, Colchester 0, and finally Sutton United 0, Tranmere Rovers 1.
BBC Radio T Sports.
Half-times in the couple of games we're keeping an eye on in the second round of the FA Trophy. It is 10-man, Spennymoor Town 1, Micklehove 1 at the Brewery Field. Moors reduced to 10 men towards the end, or midway through, I should say, that first half. James Curtis, the defender, given a straight red card for bringing down a Micklehove forward as he was bearing down on goals. So Moors down to 10 men, but it's level at 1-1 at half-time at the Brewery Field. Hasn't been a good first half for Darlington away at Scunthorpe in the trophy, though. Ray Simpson's been watching.
Half time here at Glanford Park. It's Scunthorpe 2, Darlington 0, and Quakers are playing better than they did at Chorley the other night, but so far they haven't really created any good opportunities. They went a goal down on 8 minutes. The ball was slipped through by Ross Barrows inside the Darlington area for Connor Smith to side foot across Tommy Taylor into the bottom left hand corner. Quakers tried to respond when Ben Headley won possession just outside the Scunthorpe area, but his cross to the back post on the left was too close to the keeper, Ross Fitzsimmons. Scunthorpe won a free kick in a dangerous position about 25 yards out on 13 minutes, but Jacob Butterfield curled the ball high over the bar. Quakers tried a counter-attack on 2 occasions, but the moves broke down inside the Scunthorpe half, and then Adriano Moki found Callum Griffiths on the right, and his cross was held by Fitzsimmons at the near post, but Scunthorpe immediately broke up the left-hand side in the space that Griffiths had vacated and scored a second when the ball was laid up by Smith for Butterfield to fire past Taylor from the edge of the area. Quakers won their first corner on 34 minutes. Johnny Nagandu's corner was cleared to the edge of the area where Griffiths' volley was blocked, and the ball looped up for Andrew Nelson to try an overhead kick that went wide. Scunthorpe gained another free kick about 30 yards out on 38 minutes, but Smith curled it well over the bar. Half time here, it's Scunthorpe 2, Darlington 0.
So Darlington with it all to do down at Glanford Park if they're to make it through to round 3 of the FA Trophy. And as I say, Spennymoor Town drawing 1-1 with Micklehove at the Brewery Field, although Spenny are down to 10 men after James Curtis was sent off. Well, let's talk England now, shall we? Because they beat Malta at Wembley in their latest match in qualifying for Euro 2024 last night. But as football correspondent John Murray explains, England, who've already qualified for the finals, failed to impress in the 2-0 win.
England's 90th match under Gareth Southgate was not unlike his first, an underwhelming 2-0 win at Wembley against Malta, one of European football's minnows. The margin of victory could have been wider. Captain Harry Kane was booked for diving in the first half when many referees would have awarded a penalty, and Declan Rice had a goal harshly ruled out by VAR. England did score when Phil Foden forced an early own goal by Pepe, and by far the highlight of the night was the move that resulted in Harry Kane shooting in his record-extending 62nd England goal, and he was a fitting scorer on the night Wembley said its goodbye to the late Sir Bobby Charlton.
John Murray there with the details on England's 2-0 win over Malta in Euro 2024 qualifying. Well, the England manager Gareth Southgate says they didn't hit the levels they can as they picked up that victory in the qualifier. England had already qualified for the finals, as we say, but only had 3 shots on target against Malta, and Southgate admits it was all a bit underwhelming.
It's classic, really. If you don't start games well, it's very hard to pick it up, and we didn't. So we know that the level we've got should be better, can be better. I think those games where you know at the back of your mind you can win at a canter, with the number of games the players are playing, I think sometimes there's almost a self-regulation, and we didn't hit the heights that we obviously have done through the rest of this calendar year. So not enough quality on the ball, not enough chances created. But I've been a player, I know exactly how those nights feel, and clearly it's possible we could have had 3 or 4 with a couple of different decisions as well, but we didn't create enough clear chances to really deserve that anyway.
I know that the talent is out there on the field, but it's a little bit like the conversations we were having last month for the Australia game, which I know was, in inverted commas, a weaker team. Should we be concerned? Should England fans be concerned when it's not absolutely all of your frontliners, your first choice players who are in the team?
Well, we've asked people to fill some roles tonight that aren't their usual position, like Fikayo, and it's not so easy for him to build down that side. We've obviously got problems with availability in that area of the pitch, and you're trying to give some of the players a bit of a breather as well because of the amount of football they have. So in the end you can pay for that a little bit. I think we've got a lot of players that weren't in there tonight. We still had some good performances in there tonight. I thought Trent was very, very good. Phil as well. I thought Mark Gurhey was very accomplished. And Cole Palmer coming on had a good impact on his debut. So there were some positives to take from that, but we know the level wasn't where we want to be or can be.
Yep. So you're looking for an improvement on Monday in Skopje?
No, of course, yeah.
Gareth Southgate there, speaking to our football correspondent John Murray. Well, the England captain Harry Kane admits that they weren't firing on all cylinders in that victory. England, who of course, as we mentioned, have already assured their place in the finals in Germany, had just 3 shots on target, one of which was Kane's goal 15 minutes from time.
It's not our finest performance, let's put it that way, but sometimes you play against a team who have got more quality than what people think. We missed the start of the game. We missed with the right tempo. We were sloppy with a few passes, and we couldn't quite build that. In the second half we was better and we had more control and created a couple of chances, but overall it's a 2-0 win. We know we can play better, but we're not going to complain.
Yeah, and let me ask you about what happened in the first half. Booked for diving at Wembley, the England captain.
I was surprised it didn't get overturned, but it's one of them. The ref made his decision. Sometimes VAR don't want to intervene too much, but it is what it is. That's football. That's part of the game. All I'm focused on is that we won, and hopefully that secures us for the top seed going into next summer.
From a preparation point of view, these matches, North Macedonia on Monday, and then the 2 games against Brazil and Belgium in March, it's coming very quickly now. Are there any concerns about when it's not the full first choice team for England?
I don't think so. I think we're playing a lot of games at the moment. We've got some injuries in the squad as well, but the people coming in have to be ready to perform. I don't think that was an issue today. I just think as a whole, all the players who started just weren't quite at their usual standard. But again, that's football. Sometimes that happens. So we're not going to panic about it. We know, it's a stage of the season where everyone's playing a lot of games, and we just missed that mental fatigue a little bit. But we're top of the group in a group that's been tough, and we've come through it well. We've got one more game to hopefully finish out with a win.
And just finally, I don't know about you, it certainly felt fitting to me that you got on the score sheet on a night tonight when Wembley said goodbye to Sir Bobby Charlton, and Wayne Rooney was also sitting up in the stands tonight.
Yeah, no, for sure. Sir Bobby was one of England's best ever players, and yeah, the tribute before the game was fantastic, and yeah, he'll be missed, you know, throughout the whole country. So we of course wanted to win tonight because of that. I was desperate to score because of that. So thankfully I was able to do that. And yeah, it was you know, to say goodbye and win the match at Wembley is a nice thing to do.
England captain Harry Kane there, speaking to John Murray after their 2-0 win over Malta at Wembley. But let's head back to the LNER Community Stadium, shall we? Because Rob Law and Craig Hignett have second half commentary on Pools at York City.
Thank you, Matty. Timing perfect as the referee blows his whistle to get us underway in this second half. A change for York City at the start of the second half that sees Linnell John Lewis go off. He took a whack to his ankle in that first half. He's been replaced by Will Davies, who makes his debut. He joined in midweek from Braintree. 8 goals in 15 appearances for them. He will come and play up front alongside Depo Akinyemi as Pools attack from left to right in this first half. They are unchanged, and quite rightly so, because they were absolutely immense in the first 45. So Pools with Joel Dixon in goal, a back three of Zach Johnson, Manny Onarise and Joe Mattick, the wing backs of Hasty, one of the goal scorers, and Brodie Patterson, a midfield of Kieran Wallace, captain Nicky Featherstone, Tom Crawford, who got the other goal for Pools, and Callum Cook, who has been immense. Manny Dizaruwe leading the line up front for John Askey's men. Worth mentioning the Pools bench as we enter the second half. Pete Jameson, Kieran Burton, Joe Gray, Chris Ray and Josh O'Meara. York City starting the second half with a little bit more confidence in their players. Manny Dizaruwe is judged to have fouled his man Oliver Green, and it's a free kick to Neil Ardley's side within the first minute and a half of this second 45. And you would expect Craig Hignett, alongside me, our expert summariser, for York City to come out swinging.
Well, surely they can't be as bad as they were in the first half. That's, you know, the manager's words will be ringing in their ears, I'm sure. I don't think he'll be too happy with what he's seen. In fact, he's probably furious with what he's seen in the first half.
So a free kick. Scott Burgess stood over this one. It's laid off. Back to Burgess. High on, right on top of Joel Dixon, but he lets it drop to the right-hand side of his post and out for a goal kick.
That was a poor free kick, that, Rob. You know, it was a hanging one, wasn't it? He had loads of time to see it. Dixon knew there was no one anywhere near it. Just let it go behind for a goal kick.
And if you're the manager at half-time in that one, Craig, as you have been down the years with Hartlepool United, what are you saying to your team after you've just dominated that first 45, you're 2-0 up?
Exactly what I said at the end of the first half. You know, the game's not over. You're 2 up. You've been brilliant in the first half. Don't let your quality levels slip. Don't let your concentration slip. It's got to be exactly the same again.
Kai Kennedy and Ryan Fallowfield combining, but they've given it straight away to Callum Cook. He's got an option to his right, which is Crawford. He finds him now centre of the pitch. He just cushions it back to Featherstone and Wallace. And Pools, you can see, just trying to take a bit of sting out of the York City momentum that they're trying to build.
Well, those two have been really good, Wallace and Featherstone, just sitting in front of that back three. Good with the ball, just keeping the ball.
BBC Radio T Sport on your DAB digital radio, as well as 95 FM, Freeview 722, and online via BBC Sounds this afternoon. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for your company. However you are listening to us, Manny Onarise in a foot race with Will Davies. Joel Dixon's come a long way out of his goal and just thumped that one straight across to the other goalkeeper in the York goal, over to our right-hand side, George Sykes-Kenworthy. And the wind really whipping around the LNER Community Stadium in this second half as Cook finds Dizaruwe. Back to Cook, doesn't quite reach.
Well, they've changed the way they're playing, York. They've got a... It's almost a back three. And then they've got the 2 up front, so 2 lads are playing up now as strikers.
On a turn there from Lati Fairweather, but dispossessed by a sliding challenge from Tom Crawford to intercept and disrupt the attack. Throw into the home side. Paddy McLaughlin to take it. Neil Ardley right on the edge of his technical area, trying to direct traffic this way and that. Lati Fairweather Now to McLaughlin. And a turn.
It's almost a 3-3-4 that they're playing.
Yeah, I was just looking at that myself. As Fallowfield into the penalty area, all the way through to the back post, and it just skipped up off the turf and away from Akinyemi.
Well, he's given a goal kick, the referee. He's got that completely wrong.
Yeah, I thought that took a touch and was a
York City corner. Yeah. It did take a touch.
And Anthony Sweeney has just sprinted into the changing rooms, and I just wondered if the Pools might be looking to make a change for one reason or another. I don't know, but maybe he was just desperate for the loo. Who knows?
Unless someone needs a change of boots or something, I don't know.
On a reset, his header is straight to a York shirt. Kennedy out to Akinyemi, wide on the left-hand side, entering into the Pools penalty area. Comes across the 18-yard line and straight through to Brodie Patterson, who then clears, and Callum Cook's got space to accelerate into, and he does so. Wide on the left-hand side, he's got Desirue and Crawford arriving. Hasty calling for it as well. Cook lays it off into the area, a shot from Featherstone! And Nicky Featherstone makes no mistake about it. Slips it past the keeper from close range. Played in from Cook. And the early advances from York City have been extinguished at the start of this second half. Hartlepool United make it 3. John Askey celebrates against his former side. Pools are 3-0 up. I repeat, 3-0 up. And this is an extraordinary change from the team we've seen in recent weeks. York City 0, Pools 3.
Well, what was Nicky Featherstone doing up there? It was a really quick break. York gave the ball away while they were attacking. Pools broke on them with Callum Cook over that left-hand side. He carried the ball a good 40-50 yards and then slipped it into Nicky Featherstone, who'd made a great run. He took a touch and then sorted his feet out brilliantly to slip it under the keeper. It's 3-0. It's the first time Pools have gone forward in the second half, and that really should kill the game.
And the assist goes to Callum Cook, his first start and 2 assists. And he had a lot to do with that. He had a long way to travel, and to have the coolness of mind to pick out that pass for Nicky Featherstone, wearing the captain's armband once again for Pools in his 550th career appearance. A word about the assist from Cook, because we saw him putting spray on his calf in the first half. Clearly feeling the effects of his first start, but you wouldn't know it by that.
No, it all started with Brodie Patterson just playing a ball up down the side for Cook, who was in loads of space. He could take the ball 50-60 yards. Fallowfield couldn't really get back to him. He was too far away, and then had the presence of mind, like you say, Rob, just to get his head up, come in field a little bit, and then slip a lovely little ball into Nicky Featherstone, who'd made the run. And then Fed took a touch, but thought it was under his feet, but managed to sort himself out just to slide the ball under the keeper for the 3rd goal.
York City with an attack though, an inviting ball into the area that ends up out of play for
a goal kick again. Yeah, he has.
Yes. Well, it's worth repeating, and no doubt we'll repeat it many times between now and the end of the game. But it is like night and day, and as night falls on the LNER Community Stadium in York this afternoon, the difference is quite remarkable.
Yeah, it is. It's incredible. You know, we sat and watched, and it was probably an undeserved point last week against Ebbsfleet when they were playing. I mean, they'll feel like they've threw 3 points away because they scored nearly last minute, but then let another one in the 95th minute. So that obviously will make you feel as though you've threw points away. But in all fairness, Ebbsfleet were the better side. And then you see this Pools side, totally different. They're dominant, they're on the front foot, they look sharp, they're first to all the second balls, and they've played some really good stuff. When they've gone forward in numbers, and they've looked really dangerous.
As Jake Hastie's gone down off the ball, Will Davies for York City. An attack from them. Akinyemi onto his right foot. The shot blocked by Zach Johnson, who did well just to stand his ground. Hasty now back up on his feet. A miraculous recovery from him as Desirue is fouled, and Pools have a free kick inside their own half.
Yeah, good play by Manny. Just took the ball in, tight area, made sure he got his body in the way and kept it, and then as soon as he felt the contact, he went down. Won a free kick for his side.
Zach Johnson with the free kick, looks to try and pick out Hasty, but cleared, and it's the Hartlepool United fans. You can hear celebrating in the stands. 1,500 of them made the short journey. Not the shortest journey of the season, as many of you have pointed out on social media. That goes to Gateshead, of course, but a much shorter journey than they will have on Tuesday night at Kidderminster. Pools attack again with Brodie Patterson into the box. The shot takes a deflection and just skips up off the turf, and a nice height for Sykes Kenworthy to gather in his area.
All easy and nice again, wasn't it, by Pools? Lovely switch of play, found Brodie Patterson, no one come near him, advanced to the edge of the box, managed to get a shot away, just took a little deflection. But it's really easy for Pools to get in behind this York side and get shots away, create chances. Just stand up.
As Lati Fairweather tangles with Honorise at the byline. Now Crawford accelerates on, picks out a pass for Desirue, but Desirue was offside, and Crawford...
Why was he offside? And why does he give a foul against Crawford? That's not a foul against Crawford.
Well, the referee signals for a free kick the way of York City, and Crawford was making that point, as was Mark Goodlad and John Askey in the Pools technical area, that it was a block, if anything.
Well, Crawford's had the ball. Crawford's had the ball. He took a little big touch, but he still got there first. Took a touch past the player, and the player's just stopped him running. I don't see how that can be a foul the other way.
56 minutes on the clock. York City 0, Hartlepool United 3. What an afternoon for Pools. What an afternoon for John Askey. As a long ball goes forward, on a reset, heads it back the way it came. Shot from distance that clatters off the back of Nicky Featherstone. Lati Fairweather now on this left-hand side. Akinyemi dispossessed, but dispossessed illegally, according to the referee, Paul Marsden, for a foul by Jake Hasty. As the sun starts to set, and a beautiful sunset, you can just see it through the gaps on the far side of the stadium. A beautiful orange purple sky drifting away in the distance. Hartlepool United 3-0 up, but with this free kick to defend. Burgess into the front post almost, and headed up and over, and it is a goal kick for Joel Dixon to take. And just a word about John Askey, because when that third goal went in, the celebrations for the first two goals were fairly muted, and that because I'm sure he's somewhat burdened by what's happened in the past weeks, but that third goal was a huge goal, wasn't it?
Well, it's a massive goal, because even at 2-0, you know, they're only a goal away from being back in the game, aren't they? Really, that's a great tackle. I can't.
And Crawford,
that's not even a foul,
is judged according to the referee to have fouled his man. It did look like he would.
No, he slid the ball, won it cleanly. Fine tackle. No idea what they're seeing.
And Crawford is making that point over and over again to Paul Marsden as Josh O'Meara comes out to warm up. Scott Burgess then with this free kick as we tick round to the hour mark. Burgess clipped into the area, headed away by Mattock. Only as far as Davies, making his debut into the 6-yard box again. Cleared by Pools, and Featherstone out to Cook, but he's got absolutely nobody with him, so he might have to do this by himself. But Manny Desirue is busting a gut to try and get there and support his teammate. Oh, beautiful back heel from Callum Cook to pick out Patterson. Now delivered into the area and just away from Desirue and all the way through to the near side. But what a piece of play from Callum Cook.
Well, it was brilliant, wasn't it? Over on that far side, looked like he had nowhere to go. Little back heel, set Patterson away. He's going to have to get back now, though, Patterson.
He is, because Pools have perhaps overcommitted here, but York City taking their time. Kennedy out to the right-hand side once more. Kennedy gets it back. As Pools intercept Featherstone, but can't keep hold of it. Kennedy onto his left foot, being crowded out by Mattock. Instead, the ball comes over to Akinyemi in space, drills it across the area. The shot blocked right on the goal line by Onarise, who was sliding in. It went through a crowd of bodies, and that is the best chance for York City so far.
Rob, he knew nothing about that, Manny Onarise. He's gone sprawling. He's gone full length towards his own goal. Then I think the ball was bundled towards him. He's got it caught in his legs. He's almost done a forward roll with the ball stuck in his legs. And then it's gone behind for a corner. He couldn't do that if he tried.
Corner to York City. Floated in, and straight out of his goal comes Joel Dixon. And that's what you want from your goalkeeper in moments like that. Just alleviates the pressure. And now a booming clearance that Callum Cook is going to chase. The goalkeeper for York City is going to come a long way out of his goal and eventually is able to gather it as it drops inside his area. This game is getting a bit stretched now, Higgy.
It is, yeah. I mean, York have come out and they've threw caution to the wind, and you can almost, accept that. You must think that's going to happen. John Askey, I'm sure, would know they were going to change things.
Ollie Green lays it off to Burgess. Now to Kennedy once more. Through ball to the byline, delivered into the box and over the top of absolutely everybody.
Their final ball has been awful.
And that went out for a throw-in, Craig. Not even a goal kick, a throw-in.
Yeah, I mean, Neil Harley's going mad here. He's asking the winger, why weren't you in there? But even if he was in there, the ball would have sailed over his head.
As Spennymoor have gone behind against Mikulova in the second round of the FA Trophy. Here in the National League on BBC Radio T Sport this afternoon. It is a good afternoon for John Askey and his Hartlepool United side as they lead 3-0 at York City. Kieran Burton getting ready to come on. Recalled from his loan spell at Darlington in midweek. Got man of the match in his first performance for the Quakers. And I know a lot of Darlington fans quite sad to see him return to Pools, despite being on the end of an 8-0 thumping in midweek. The general consensus is that he'd done well during his short spell with the National League North outfit. But he's about to come on, just getting some final words of instruction and encouragement from Anthony Sweeney.
I can only think this is going to be an injury.
Well, I think it's Jake Hasty who's going to come off. And Hasty turns to applaud the travelling Poolies, all 1,500 of them. He goes off, replaced by Kieran Burton, but Hasty with a big broad smile across his face. He gets the adulation of John Askey and everybody on the Pools bench. It has been a big few days for him personally. It's been no secret that he's been heavily criticised since he arrived at Pools. It's been difficult for him for all sorts of reasons, not getting the game time, not quite performing to the level that I think he himself would want to. But 2 goals in his last 2 games has certainly lifted his spirits and gives John Askey a few problems ahead of Kidderminster on Tuesday night, Craig. It's a great turnaround for Jake Hasty.
Yeah, I mean, the nice problems to have, aren't they? Yeah. Players playing well, scoring goals. They're the type of problems you want, not players out of form and the other one's out of form, so you don't know who to put in out of both of them. But yeah, I mean, Jake Hasty today, he's been excellent, took his goal really well.
Callum Cook just wrestling for possession inside the York City half. Zach Johnson trying to help him out. Featherstone controls it on his chest, but Akinyemi tries to come away with it. Good interception from Zach Johnson, and Pools work it back to Joel Dixon, who launches it long, but it will drop out of play for a throw-in deep inside the York City half as the wind just picks up and whips around.
I think it's spoiled the game a little bit, Rob,
The wind?
Yeah. I do. It's certainly stronger than it was in the first half. Pools haven't managed to get the ball down yet and play with the control that they had in the first half. It's been more You know, York have been the ones who are on the front foot, looking, play forward, big long balls. Pools are just defending, closing down, and waiting for their chance to break.
Akinyemi tries to feed a ball through to Will Davies, but well read by Onorise. He does that so well, doesn't he? And then a late challenge on Brodie Patterson. And this is going to be the first yellow card of the afternoon. And it goes the way of Oliver Green. But that was certainly a yellow card, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was late. It was just one of them where Patterson's going to clear it up the line. He's actually moved over to right back now since Kieran Burton's come on. He's cleared it up the line, and Green's just come sliding in late. No attempt to play for the ball. He's lucky actually that he's only got a yellow.
Well, Patterson is still down and receiving some treatment from Danny O'Connor, the physio. And this does look like a nasty one for Brodie Patterson. He's got his hands over his face. Looks to be his ankle, his right ankle. He is laying flat on his back.
Attendance figure is 6,265.
And that is not what you want to see. And Brodie Patterson's done well today. He's had to do a job in the absence of David Ferguson, who is suspended, of course.
Is that 1,502 poolies?
I think it was.
Yeah, it's not a full house, certainly, is it?
6,265 with 1,502 from pools. A brilliant showing. And it's the Hartlepool United fans once again who serenade their men in blue and white this afternoon. The drummer away to our right hand side, and the fans that take up the entire stand behind the goal of George Sykes-Kenworthy, and about a quarter of the stand over on the far side as well. Brodie Patterson is back up on his feet.
I'd be telling him to get to near the halfway line. I wouldn't want him running on there.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, he's not entered the field of play yet. He has to wait 30 seconds, of course. The fourth official.
See, that's a stupid rule as well, isn't it? You've got one of their players takes someone out, and then they have to play for 10 men for 30 seconds. It's stupid.
You would think that surely at some point that is going to change back. As Will Davies attacks, pulls down to 10 men. Ollie Green stands the ball dead, then comes away.
See, what you want to do now, you know, if Tom Crawford was that way inclined, just go down the back of his shins and leave one on him, and he has to go off for 30 seconds. But you get your player on, and suddenly it's 11v10. It's a stupid rule. When you can do things like that and have an advantage, it's not right. I mean, he's been off for about a minute.
Brodie Patterson still not allowed back on. Now he's waved on by Paul Marsden. And York City with the ball floated into the penalty area. Onorise heads it away, but it's gone straight to Ollie Green. It rebounds wildly inside the 6-yard box and cleared by Pools.
Do you know what? Onorise is like a magnet, isn't he, for the ball today?
Oh,
put him in.
Oh, Crawford, a beautiful sidestep to get past his marker, and then was just begging for a through ball to Desirue, but it was intercepted in the final moment by Tyler Cordner. But Pools might have another opportunity here with Cook, crossing the halfway line, gives it to the fresh legs of Kieran Burton, accelerating down the touchline, stops the ball to a walking pace. Infield now to Wallace, and Featherstone's got space. The crowd shout, shoot. Instead, he gives it away to a red shirt. Now Scott Burgess has it for York City inside their own half. It was almost a beautiful move from Tom Crawford there as Pools looked to attack.
Well, it was disappointing, wasn't it, the pass?
Oh, and a through ball from Akinyemi that went between the Pools defence, but unfortunately for them, it also went a few yards away from Scott Burgess, who was trying to latch onto the through ball. So, 69 minutes on the clock. York City 0, Hartlepool United 3. Yes, really, it's not a wind-up. Do not adjust your set, all that. The goals coming from Jake Hasty after 7 minutes, Crawford after 16, and then the third from Nicky Featherstone 5 minutes into the second half, after a driving, purposeful run by Callum Cook, playing him in, and a calm finish from Featherstone on his 550th career appearance. 7th in the all-time appearance rankings for Pools. And a good goal for him, his 2nd of the season. That's the way the goals have come. As Desirue is judged to have been... Is he judged offside?
No, I said
the
ball's gone out.
Yeah, ball's gone out of play from Brodie Patterson on this near side. Well, John Askey has had to answer some difficult questions over the last few months. I know there's been a bit of soul-searching for him personally as well as the rest of his coaching staff in just how to get a tune out of this team that has been decimated with injury. But it doesn't seem like any coincidence, Craig, that a performance like this has come when the likes of Callum Cook and Kieran Wallace have come back into the side, as we said earlier.
Yeah, I mean, good players make a difference to sides, don't they? And the both that you've mentioned there have had really good games. They've been influential, both of them.
Kieran Burton on the ball. Field as Pools occupy the ball inside their own half. Neil Ardley is just imploring his players to get closer to the ball. Neil Ardley strikes me as a man that you wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of in the dressing room.
I mean, pick your times, haven't you, these days? Because if you go in shouting every single week, then it means nothing. Oh, it's calm even when you're semi-angry. Oh, that's a good run.
That is a good ball. And it's Ryan Fallowfield, but he is offside.
And you go in every week shouting, ranting and raving, and then person, and suddenly you go in 1 week ranting and raving. It means something. Players will take notice of it. So you've got to pick your times.
I remember covering Pools under Neil Cooper, who was the first Pools manager that I ever interviewed or dealt with on a regular basis. And I think it was the first game of the season and they lost, and he came out afterwards and absolutely gave a scathing review of his team. So much so, I think we did a whole talking about it with one of our presenters on our mid-morning show, about how a manager gets the most out of his players and whatnot, because it was just such a scathing review after the first game, and the common consensus was like, well, you give yourself no wiggle room there. and as we know, Neil Cooper was never afraid of giving his opinion or telling players exactly what he thought.
No, he was a top man.
One of the game's
he
good
was brilliant.
characters.
What a character he was.
Yeah. And well missed as well.
Oh, brilliant sense of humour. He done fabulous for this football club, and like you say, he'll never be forgotten here.
Absolutely. And Pools, of course, have that stand named after him. I remember, when we went to go and interview him, it was the first time I'd spoken to him, and all the other journalists had said to me, as the ball just drops out of play over on the far side, he says, right, be careful, because if it's the first time he's met you, he'll probably take the mick in some way, shape or form. So did the entire interview, got right to the door, had my hand on the handle of the door, and thought, I've got away with it here. He hasn't said anything to me. And he said, what was your name again? I said, Rob. He says, Rob, next time, wear another coat. You look like the expletive word, Fonz.
Did you wear the leather coat, Rob?
I never wore it again. Never wore it again. To be fair, it was pleather. I couldn't afford it.
Well, listen, he's done you a favour then, hasn't he? He's done you a massive favour.
It did have the Fonzie collar as well and everything. Yeah, I never wore it again. Oh. I took his advice. Throw into Pools over on the far side. We're in good spirits because Pools are leading 3-0 with 73 minutes on the clock. Kieran Burton at the byline, crossing to the penalty area that was hit with Hope. Oh, no. Well, I'm trying to...
the referee took someone down.
Took out a Hartlepool United player. I'm trying to see who it is.
I think it's Nicky Featherstone. Oh, no, it's not Nicky Featherstone. It's Kieran Wallace.
Kieran Wallace absolutely clattered into the referee there. And Kieran Wallace has come off the worst. I mean
that's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. I really hope Kieran Wallace is staying down to cover the embarrassment, if you know what I mean, and not because he's done himself a mischief, because that was some collision. But he is back on his feet, Kieran Wallace.
He's got to get off the pitch because...
Well, yeah, the physio came on.
Yeah, the physio came on. He said he didn't want him. So he's got to go off.
So Kieran Wallace now has to go off for 30 seconds. The referee's absolutely fine, by the way. Not that anybody was asking.
No.
Kieran Wallace less so.
Where's he dropping the ball?
Well, about 10 yards away from where it actually happened, yeah. Well, Paul Marsden as well, and truly been in the thick of it this afternoon. Nicky Featherstone finds Zach Johnson. That's one of the most bizarre things I've seen. And now Brodie Patterson, I think, is struggling here as well.
Yeah, he looks like he's limping. Zach Johnson's had a really good game, by the way.
Yes, he has.
Defense.
Yeah. Well, Kieran Wallace still off the field. Brodie Patterson struggling. So Pool's effectively down to 9 men here. But they do have possession. Wallace still waiting to come on. As the ball just bounces away from Manny Desirue and into the York City half.
Well, you can see Pools now have conceded, haven't they? They've conceded ground to York. They're letting them have it, and they're dropping back. You can see there, Manny Desirue didn't really want to go and close down the centre half, did he?
But he gets it now on the halfway line. He's got Crawford to his right.
Play him in.
Crawford, space opens up for Kieran Wallace, who's just about shaking the cobwebs out. Midway inside the York City half. This looks inviting for Pools. Wallace, once again, just dipping into little spaces, isn't he, Kieran Wallace?
Yeah.
Now Cook.
You can see they've got a lovely little triangle there with Wallace and Featherstone and Cook, and then Desiree's joining in. You've got Crawford on this side.
And to think you've got Anthony Mancini to come back into this midfield as well at some point.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, things can change, can't they? On one performance, when things look hopeless. And now Brodie Patterson goes down after a free kick is being given.
Well, it was Zach Johnson who done the work there. Done great work, Zach Johnson. Done really well, got his body in, got a foul for his team. Definitely a foul. And then Brodie Patterson's gone down. I don't think he can carry on. It looks like Joe Gray's going to come on.
Yeah, Joe Gray stripped off and ready to enter the field of play. 3 goals so far this season for Gray. Most he's ever scored in a season is 4. And you would back him to surpass that this season, given his form. And now Brodie Patterson is going to come on, and the physio, Danny O'Connor.
Danny O'Connor was right round the far goal, and he's had to come all the way up here.
He's getting a round of applause of sorts, shall we say, from the York fans.
Well, that's the slowest 400 metres I've ever seen.
But he's done very well, Danny O'Connor, to get round.
He'll be down with cramp soon. Brodie Patterson will be giving him.
He'll need his own DP, won't he?
That's the longest run I've ever seen a physio do. Oh,
he's been a busy man.
Poor Danny.
He's earned his corn this afternoon.
So there'll be a shift here, won't there? It'll be interesting to see who's going to go and play, or whether they'll just go to a back 4.
Well, Joe Gray still waiting to enter, but Brodie Patterson is going to come off, limping rather heavily as he does so. It looks to be that right ankle, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But Joe Gray comes on to replace him.
Well, it looks like Joe Gray's just going to go and play right wing back, doesn't it?
Joe Gray replacing 24.
It looks like that at the minute, doesn't it? With Zach Johnson, Honorise, Mattock and Kieran Burton making up the rest of the defence. Danny O'Connor just turns to the York fans, and a big broad smile across his face. He takes it all very well, does Danny, the Pools physio. Lad. He is. He's very well thought of in the game. Credit to him for taking that in good humour. Kieran Burton does well to pick out a pass for Cook. He's got Desirue in front. He feeds the ball into him now. Desirue wide on the left-hand side, going towards the corner flag. With just over 10 minutes left to play. Cook, Desirue played into Kieran Burton inside the box. He drops the shoulder at the angle. Oh, and he hits the side netting. Kieran Burton was inches away from scoring his first goal at Hartlepool United. Instead, he's won a corner.
Well, how easy was that for Burton to get in down that left-hand side? Bit of a tight angle, went low, keeper got a foot to it.
Corner taken quickly. It's into Desiree, wide on the left-hand side of the penalty area. Now back to Wallace. Pools working in close quarters over on the far side. Cook.
But I hate to see that as a manager. You want your team to be aggressive. You don't want your team just following the ball. And there was 3 Pools players just playing about with the ball there. York players, plenty of them around. Not one of them wanted to make a tackle.
And the ball all the way back with Joel Dixon away to our left. So
what a touch that
heavy
is.
touch, and Tom Crawford has nicked it off the defender. Crawford through on goal. He cuts it back to Cook. Curling effort that takes a rebound and goes behind for a corner. The goal was gaping. Pools had all the space and Cook had all the time, but he couldn't pick out the spot to make it 4. And Pools instead have their 5th corner, and with 10 minutes left, many in and around us are heading for home.
Do you know what? It was so unselfish, wasn't it, Tom Crawford? The game had opened up for him. He was in on goal. He played it just to his left for Cook to run onto. I thought Cook should have cut it back to Crawford. Goal. It's a little flick from Crawford.
Point blank save there by Sykes Kenworthy. Pools, the move still alive from the corner as it comes through to Honorise. It goes back to Joe Gray.
Well, I thought that was a goal. It was a great corner in. Crawford at the near post, unmarked.
Once
little
again
header
unmarked.
down.
Crawford's twice now he's been unmarked at corners. Cook into Desiree, a little return pass for Crook, and it might be swept in. It's blocked on the goal line, and Joe Gray has been judged to be offside, I think. Is that a flag? It is. Joe Gray, well,
it's too easy for Pools, isn't it? It's 1-2s and they're in all the time, particularly down that left-hand side with Cook. Burton's been in a couple of times. We've seen Crawford in there now. Joe Gray was in the middle of the box.
And all of a sudden
Featherstone scored from there.
Yeah, Hartlepool United looking like they could yet add more to this in the final 9 minutes as Desiree closes down the goalkeeper who clears under pressure. Kieran Burton plucks the ball out of the air, but it was a heavy touch. He's given it away, and now it's an opportunity for Scott Burgess to accelerate into the Pools half. It's with Kai Kennedy, right-footed delivery headed away by Honorise, and he is like a magnet, isn't he?
Yeah.
Now Paddy McLaughlin, who's been quiet this afternoon, it has to be said. Letty Fairweather, his cross is blocked by Joe Gray, and a corner to the home side, just their 2nd corner of the game. Don't forget all the post-match reaction to come from John Askey and the Pools dressing room. If you are heading out, take us with you on BBC Sounds, or you'll find all the post-match reaction on X, formerly Twitter. At BBC T Sport is where we are on there. Corner to York City. Out comes Joel Dixon and does well to gather it under pressure and collapses on top of the ball.
Yeah, it was good goalkeeping, wasn't it? Made it his early.
I think we're going to see the introduction of Josh O'Meara as well for the final 7 or 8 minutes plus stoppage time, and he is a man who could well do with a goal to lift his confidence. Just 1 for the season. This is his longest spell without a goal for some old time, Josh O'Meara, as Crawford's won the ball, edge of the D, looks to just try and nick it past his marker, but is intercepted at the vital moment. Yeah, it's Josh O'Meara's longest spell without a goal since 2001 when he was at Torquay, which says a lot about Josh O'Meara's goal-scoring record in recent seasons. It has been incredible, but
he hasn't played much, has he, in all fairness to him this season?
Yeah, he's had suspensions and injuries which have really hampered his game time. Oh, a diagonal ball that comes through to Ryan Fellowfields, and he cuts it back inside the area, pinballing around. Ollie Green's shot is blocked. It might break for Scott Burgess, 25 yards out, onto his right foot instead. He doesn't shoot, he lays it off to Fellowfields. Back to Kennedy. Into the area and straight down the throat of Joel Dixon, and Neil Ardley in front of us turns away, spins on his heels in frustration.
Well, do you know, sometimes when you think, well, it's not my day today, I think York have had one of them days because they've had so many chances in the second half. Everything they've done has been blocked, or, I mean, Manny Honorise has done so many blocks on the goal line in the 6-yard box That one there rolled out. There was a free shot inside the box. Nicky Featherstone come out, blocked it. And it's just one of them days for York where it doesn't matter how long they'll play till. It's one of them where I don't think they're going to score. But Pools, everything they've done has been top class.
Well, if Pools do see this out, it'll be Joel Dixon's first clean sheet of the season. It'll be his first clean sheet since October of 2022. It's almost a year ago.
Yeah, too long.
Joel Dixon kept a clean sheet. He was at Bolton previously, of course. Started the last 2 games. It'll be Pools' first clean sheet since Dagenham and Redbridge earlier in the season.
I mean, that'll be the goal now.
Yeah.
I think for the players on there, they'll want to keep a clean sheet. John Askey will certainly want to keep a clean sheet. Just turn it around the corner, Manny, and Tom Crawford's in.
Yeah,
I mean, they're so open, aren't they?
Yeah. Desiree just crowded out there in the end.
I mean, I thought York would be all right, but having seen them firsthand, I think it's a big job for Neil Hardley.
I'm surprised at what we've seen from them this afternoon. To be completely honest, I was expecting this to be a really tough game for Pools, and it's been completely the opposite. It's been a comfortable afternoon, and now Callum Cook is sat down inside the centre circle, and this is a worry, because Cook has been outstanding today. His first start, and in fairness to him, I mean, he's lasted 85 minutes, having not played an awful lot since September. He came on for the first time, his return from injury in the draw against Ebbsfleet.
Yes. He's going around every player, isn't he, shaking their hands?
He applauds the away fans. So on comes Josh O'Meara. He replaces Callum Cook, and I think that is just precautionary.
Yeah, he looks like he's moving all right, doesn't he, Rob?
Yeah.
He's had a great afternoon, Cookie.
But what a shift from him.
He's been brilliant. He's been brilliant. I think it'll be a bit of cramp, probably, because he's been all over the place. He showed his quality. He's made 2 goals. Been involved in everything that's been good.
As Pools attack down the right-hand side with Crawford. Wins a throw-in for good measure. So Pools' last clean sheet, Saturday the 23rd of September at Dagenham and Redbridge. It's been a long wait. Joe Gray by the corner flag, tries to find a way through. The away fans think that was a handball from the York man, as Joe Gray just brushes his opposite number off the ball, and looks to have come off worse for that, Joe Gray.
He's got a bit of a limp on him as well now,
hasn't he? Limping like I do when I stub my toe on the bottom of the bed. It's a proper ayaz when that happens, isn't it? It's just nothing worse. There's no greater pain in the world than stubbing your toe. York City in possession, 87 minutes on the clock. York 0, Pools 3. Goals from Hasty, Crawford and Nicky Featherstone. Matty Fairweather tries to deliver a cross, but it is out of play. And Pools are home and hosed effectively. The question now is, can they keep a clean sheet? And you wouldn't bet against it at present with under 3 minutes left to play plus stoppage time.
No, they've got so many things bobble about the box and in and around the penalty area, but York haven't managed to force it over the line through a bit of really good defending and luck at times, you have to say, with a couple of Honorese's blocks. And they haven't managed to get the ball in the back of the net. And it goes back to saying what I said before about sometimes it's just not your day, and it doesn't matter how much you try, it's never going to happen for you. And it's been one of them days for York, but the Pools have been well worth the 3 goals, if not more.
Good build-up play here between Gray, Desiree and Featherstone, who's just kept things ticking over so well. Desiree finds O'Meara wide on the right-hand side, being watched closely by Cordner. And if Pools, or when Pools see out this win, as they win a free kick, it could see them go as high as 11th, and there'd be 5 points from a playoff place, which is incredible considering the run Pools have been on.
Well, it just shows you how good they were at the start of the season. You know, they had a really good start, but this will give them a load of confidence. You know, they'll there or thereabouts. Like John Askey said before, if you get another, 2 or 3 wins can change the picture massively. This will be a big help.
And it's all too comfortable for Pools at the minute. On a Onarise, sure, as I say that, curse of the commentator. Onarise gives it away to Kai Kennedy, who's done the biggest 360 you've ever seen. I mean, it was bigger than the centre circle.
No one's gone near him.
No, completely unopposed. Fallowfield down the right-hand side to Burgess, flicks it on to Kennedy once more. That low centre of gravity for Kennedy.
He's been really busy, actually, Kennedy. He's looked dangerous without doing anything. He's
been one of the bright sparks, hasn't he, for York City on what's been a really poor afternoon for them, Kennedy.
I think he's been quite negative because he looks like he can go past people, and he's got that pace, like you said, that low centre of gravity where he looks sharp. And sometimes I think, I don't know if he's young, I don't know how old he is, but he's
21.
Yeah, if he gets a little bit more confidence, a little bit more positive, he could be a real good player for York.
The official has indicated a minimum of 6 minutes additional time. 6 minutes.
6 minutes of stoppage time as Joe Gray is fouled on the edge of his own area, and it's a free kick to Pools. Yes, he's 21, 5'4", came through the youth ranks at Rangers and joined here in the summer. Has yet to score his first goal for York City. But Pools with a free kick, and many of the home fans drifting out and off. They might be going to the Hollywood Bowl.
Well, they need to do something, don't need to get this out of the memory.
Yes. I suspect it'll be much more entertaining for them at Hollywood Bowl than it would be from what they've seen from their side so far this afternoon. Pools, on the other hand, all 1,500 of the travelling Poolies will practically be dancing back home as Kennedy, 20 yards out on the right-hand side. Fallowfield gives it back to Kennedy once more. Pools just packing the penalty area with bodies. The cross comes in from Kennedy, cleared by Matic. Josh O'Meara trying to nick the ball of the last defender there, but the Minster men keep hold of possession. Paddy McLaughlin floats one into the back post, and Joe Dixon does well to just pat the ball down into the turf and smother it for good measure. 6 minutes of stoppage time. We're in the second minute of that 6. And just, Craig, your thoughts for your BBC Radio T Sport man of the match. You don't have to tell us who it is right now, but just who's in your thinking for it?
Everyone. Yeah. I mean, there's been so many good performances. It's been a really, really top performance from Pools. You could say that the back three, if you like, have been really solid. Manny Onarise has got some great blocks in. Zach Johnson's done his bit. Matic as well. And then looking ahead at them, I think the standout performances have probably been in midfield. This shape in midfield has been really, really good as we see Joel Gray break down that right-hand side.
And he's got it off Crawford, who did very well to keep hold of it. Gray being brought down, but nothing given. Tom Crawford's been another one as well.
Tom's been great, yeah. He has been really good. They've been good with the ball. The 4 of them have.
Yeah.
Wallace, Featherstone, Crawford, and then Callum Cook have all been really, really good. Kept the ball really well, been reliable with it, haven't given it away too many times.
Crossing to the penalty area that Pools have to deal with if they want to keep the clean sheet. Ollie Green goes down inside the area. The referee wags his finger as Zach Johnson comes away with it. Clears up towards Desirue, just controls it on his... That was on his collarbone, that one from Desirue.
And he's worked hard, man.
Yeah, he has.
When he's had to hold it in, he has done. He's been asked to do something slightly different. He's stayed a bit deep. Let York have it.
A shot from distance that Joel Dixon has to just put behind. And it's a corner to the home side, their third of the game.
Today's match sponsors, Wilmot Dixon Interiors, have nominated their Waitrose and partners, York City man of the match, number 39, Ollie Green.
Well, the York City man of the match is being given to Ollie Green. Get Craig Hignett's BBC Radio T Sport man of the match very shortly into the 4th minute of stoppage time. 6 to play. Corner swung into the front post and headed home. Hartlepool United don't keep the clean sheet. York City, off a rare corner, get a goal in stoppage time, but the points will be heading Back over to Pools. It's Tyler Cordner who met that with his head to put it past Joel Dixon to make it York 1, Pools 3.
That was too easy. It was a good ball in, to be fair, and all he's done is just run across that 6-yard line, got a good glance on it, and in it goes. Real shame for Pools, that, because you want that clean sheet just to top the day off. They've had such a good day. A clean sheet would have been brilliant for them.
Well, Pools might be in here with Josh O'Meara inside the box, running at his man, tries to lay it off and through to Desiree, but it's intercepted. And once again, the referee getting in the way. There's Crawford, just had to skip past him. Paddy McLaughlin just turning away from Nicky Featherstone. Those two used to be teammates once upon a time. Ollie Green, watched closely by Crawford. Now Scott Burgess, and York City looking to end the game with something for the home fans. Kai Kennedy, again busy, but no real end product there. And the sideward passes growing moans from the home fans. McLaughlin out to Akinyemi, running at Joe Gray. Oh, twists and turns away from Joe Gray. Does well to try and stay with him, and Joe Dixon picks that one out for good measure. Final 30 seconds, so Craig Hignett, our expert Pools summariser, a pleasure to have you alongside us, as always, as summariser. Your BBC Radio T-Sport man of the match.
Well, listen, I could have given it to any one of the midfield, because they've been brilliant in the midfield. They've come into some criticism, but they've been brilliant. This new shape suits them down to the ground, particularly Crawford and Cook. Featherstone's done what Featherstone does, sits and keeps the ball well, reads the play well, gets players around him, organises people. Kieran Wallace has been excellent as well, getting some important blocks in, but I'm going to give it to Callum Cook, because I think his all-round play has been excellent. Been involved in the goals, and for me, you know, Callum Cook has been absolutely outstanding this afternoon.
So Callum Cook, your BBC Radio T-Sport man of the match, 2 assists to his name on his first start since September. Well deserved, but quite rightly, as Craig says, you could have handed it to anybody in a blue and white shirt this afternoon and there wouldn't have been many arguments. Kieran Wallace, Nicky Featherstone, all doing very well. On a Reese at the base of defence. The full-time whistle goes. Hartlepool United finally have that win they've been so desperately searching for. It was comfortable. John Askey getting one over his former team, and it really was a comfortable afternoon. The goals started flowing after just 7 minutes when Jake Hasty made it 2 goals in 2 games for him. Just accelerated past his man and slotted home for a tidy finish. Callum Cook, his first assist of the afternoon, came by playing in Crawford in the D, who drilled one from distance to give Pools the added advantage. And Pools could have well been 3 or 4 up at half-time with opportunities through Featherstone, Crawford, Desiree and more. But that advantage was stretched out further after 5 minutes in the second half, when Brodie Patterson played the ball into Callum Cook. As York City had committed bodies forward early on, Cook had almost the length of the pitch to accelerate into. He slipped the ball into the path of Nicky Featherstone, who on his 550th appearance was able to nudge it home to make it 3-0 to Pools. The only sour point was that John Askey's men couldn't see out the clean sheet to top off the cherry on top of this delightful cake in York this afternoon, and it was because a corner in stoppage time, which was swung in and met by the head of Tyler Cordner, who put past Joel Dixon in the Pools goal. But 1,500 Poolies celebrate and serenade their men in blue and white.